In reading this, I remember that I need to recall the way she was and not what she became. A body so devastated, so broken, the coroner had never seen anything like it. The day of the accident, I begged the officers to just let me say goodbye to her. It's a physical thing, but it manifests itself in emotion, right? And I implored them to afford me, one last goodbye to her. Afford me one moment with her. I wanted to hold her hand or kiss her forehead for one last time. But with patience and understanding, they assured me that it just couldn't happen. They wanted to protect me like I had hoped to protect Eileen throughout her life. To this day, I've yet to say goodbye to her because I simply don't know how. So what do? I want to see her again. I want to see her today. My family needs me, but as I've said to you in earlier statements that you've received in earlier letters to the court, I'm just tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I mean, sure, I fake the smiles and do the dad jokes.
So first, I want to say before I continue on this case, there are a lot of people here that are missing someone, who love someone, and there are a lot of emotions in this room, and I understand that. But in this courtroom and in this building, I cannot have any attacks against people, or I don't want anybody yelling at other people in the courtroom. I don't want anything like that. If you do, I can hold you in contempt. So I know this is hard. I know this is hard for everybody in this courtroom, but we must behave, make sure to mind your decorum, and we don't want any issues, okay? So I have Allison Arnold appearing on behalf of the prosecutor's office. I have Michael Dagger Margosian appearing on behalf of Ms. Steinwettel. This is file number 24-21814FH. Mr. Dagger Margosian, along with the pre-sentence report, which I understand you would have received, I have received many victim impact statements and letters. Have you received all of those?
Your Honor, we've received a number of victim impact statements and we're ready to proceed.
Okay, can you move the microphone closer to you and speak up a little bit? All right, and were you able to review them with your client?
Yes.
And you received them as well, of course, Ms. Arnold, correct?
I have.
So, Ms. Steinwettel, have you had an opportunity to read and review the pre-sentence report?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I'm gonna need you to speak up a little bit, all right, because we're recording. And have you had an opportunity to discuss the pre-sentence report with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your attorney and the advice they have given you?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Arnold, do you wish to explain or challenge the accuracy or relevancy of any information in the pre-sentence report?
Judge, I just have a couple minor corrections on page, it's the third physical page, which is labeled page 1 under evaluation and plan. It says that Ms. Steinwettel pled no contest to reckless driving causing serious injury. That should be changed to death.
All right, and let's see who this is Ms. Walsh. All right, let me see. All right, Ms. Walsh, you got that? Okay, all right, we will make that change.
And then if the court keeps going on page 6, I just need to
Physical page 6 or numbered page?
go from 1 to 6 following that third page 1.
Okay.
Any employment, it says $475 a week, and then it says $700 a week. I just thought we should, whichever figure is correct, have that there.
Ms. Walsh, you're muted. I don't know if you have any information. Which one?
I would have to ask Ms. Steinwettel.
710 a week.
All right, 710 a week. We'll make that change.
And that's it, Judge.
All right. Mr. Dagger Margosian, do you wish to explain or challenge the accuracy or relevancy of any information in the pre-sentence report?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Arnold, does the pre-sentence report disclose any prior convictions in which there exists any known constitutional defect?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Dagger Margosian?
None, Your Honor.
Probation Department computed the minimum sentencing guidelines to be 19 to 38 months. Do you agree with that computation of guidelines, Ms. Arnold?
I do.
Mr. Dagger Margosian?
Yes.
All right. Now, I think we have 4 or 5 people that wish to speak today. Is that correct?
We do, Your Honor.
All right. So I guess I would like to take them first. Is that all right? So when it's your turn to come up, I'll have you come up to the podium and I need you can adjust the microphone and give me your first name and spell your first and last name for me before you speak. Okay. All right.
Judge, first, we're going to have Elizabeth Moore, who is the sister of Elaine Christopher.
Okay. All right. I'm going to step up to the podium. And if you can give me your first and last name and spell both for me. You gotta speak up a little
Okay,
bit.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Your Honor, my name is Elizabeth Moore, ELIZABETHMOORE. Eileen Christopher is my sister. Eileen was a wonderful, loving, patient, caring mother, wife, mother-in-law, daughter, sister, aunt, friend, and teacher. Her husband of over 30 years, Jeff, and her 2 boys, Scott and Matt, were her world. They came first in Eileen's life. Second was her job. Eileen gave her life to her job. She was a fabulous preschool special needs teacher for over 30 years. She gave 150% to her kids. On January 29th, 2024, Eileen went off to work like any other day, and she never showed. That's the same day that you, Madison, took her away from us. Eileen was 55 years young. She was looking forward to starting a new chapter in her life with her family. She was planning on retiring in 4 years. Her son, Scott, is now married, and she was so excited to have grandbabies. She told me in December, 1 month before she was killed in this horrible accident. And when she retires in 4 years, Scott and her daughter-in-law, Kay, could finally have babies because she would then be home to watch them. She would have been an amazing grandma, but Madison, you took those hopes and dreams away from her husband, and from her sons. Your Honor, Madison has had at least 7 prior violations involving her driving that I could easily find in 5 years. In October of 2019, she was charged with failing to stop in assured clear distance. Then in July of 2021, she was charged with speeding, going at least 26 over. She was going 99 miles in a 55. In April of 2022, another speeding ticket, 85 and a 70. At this time, she was also charged with expired or invalid plates and no proof of insurance. In December of 2022, she was charged with driving while her license was suspended or revoked. Then last August, in 2023, she was charged with careless driving, where she was attempting to drag race at.
Judge, I don't know if it's appropriate for victim impact statements to go into this area. I generally don't chime in on stuff like this, but I'm not sure if this is appropriate.
Judge, I think it's appropriate. It's not offered for any factual, it's not establishing a fact like a pre-sentence investigation. These are the victim's feelings, and this is information they have that affects how they feel about the offense, and I think it's completely appropriate.
And some of that information is in the pre-sentence report. So I understand. I hear your objection, but I'm going to deny it. Thank you. Proceed.
And I'll skip the next one, okay? But you've gotten progressively more dangerous. And then you're charged with reckless driving, causing death. What will be next? Your Honor, Madison has continually received slaps on the wrist for all of these traffic violations. She clearly has not learned or just doesn't care. This horrific accident could have been prevented. I do not believe Madison shows remorse for what she has done. One day after the accident, a friend of Madison sets up a GoFundMe account. $657 were raised. The page then states, Madison is unable to do about everything. She will be going through a very long, hard road to recovery after surgery. It never mentioned she caused the accident or that she killed someone. It never mentioned to pray for the other person involved their family. Madison, you lived, you can walk. And here she profited $657. The page is still up. I understand she did not put the page up, but she could easily ask her friend to take it down. Then in March of 2024, just a few weeks after the accident, she posts on her public TikTok page at that point, RIP cocaine train, with a picture of her truck. Someone posted under this post, rest in peace to the baddest truck out there. Madison, I hope you understand that you only lost a truck, an object, a possession, something replaceable. You took a loved one from us, a wife, a mother, a daughter, a sister, an aunt, and a friend from all of us. We never had the chance to say goodbye or to see Eileen because of the damage that you did to her body. We didn't have that closure. You took that from us. Your truck was a weapon. Eileen never stood a chance with how massive your Ford F-350 was. Your Honor, I understand nothing can bring Eileen back. And no matter the amount of time Madison serves, will not be fair for taking her life. But I am asking you to sentence Madison to the full extent of the sentencing guidelines to help us feel like Eileen has had some justice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Katie Naveau, who is also Eileen's sister.
Step up to the podium, and then if you can state your full name loudly and then spell your first and last name, please.
Katie Naveau, K-A-T-I-E-N-A-V-E-A-U.
Thank you.
Your Honor, on January 29, 2024, I received the news that my sister Eileen was killed in a car accident on her way to work. Life has not been the same since. Eileen made good decisions. She put her husband Jeff of 35 years and her boys Scott and Matt first. She worked incredibly hard at her job, tending to the needs of her preschoolers. She worked tirelessly at home, writing IEPs, lesson plans, and planning for meetings. Her home was where she'd unwind, but she was still working. Whether she was cleaning, grocery shopping, fixing dinner, weeding, doing laundry, or helping the boys tear down drywall in their starter homes they were renovating, she was always working. Before she passed, we talked about getting our hair done, and she said, I've never got my hair highlighted. I've never had a pedicure. I said, Eileen, we need to do that. She said she was always putting herself before herself. Eileen was 4 years from retiring. I too am a public school teacher, and the two of us were set to retire together in 2028. As much as she loved her job, she said she's ready. Life is truly not fair that someone like Eileen can go about her morning, prepare a crock pot full of stew, get in her car, head to work, and be struck and run over because someone decided to watch a TikTok video on her way to work. Today is the day, Your Honor, where you decide the sentencing for Madison. How much time does someone deserve for taking her life? Whatever you decide, it's never going to be enough. Eileen's not coming back. Coming from a family of 6 kids, I never had to worry about having too many friends because I always had someone at home to play with. Eileen was almost exactly a year younger than me. And now one of my best friends is gone. And while I miss her dearly, she's missing all the wonderful things that her family has done in just the past 10 months. She's missing the celebration of her son, Matt, who proposed to his girlfriend, Taylor. She's missing dress fittings and all the preparations for an upcoming wedding. She's missing Kaylin's announcement that she got into her master's program. She's missing the new renovation of Scott and Kay's house. But most importantly, she's missing making all those memories with Jeff, who was her best friend. She's missing all the rewards she worked so hard over the past 30 years of teaching. She was so close to the end of her career where she could finally slow down and enjoy the fruits of her labor. Not having Eileen here has left a giant hole in our family, and it's just not fair that she's not here. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Kate Christophers, who is Eileen's daughter-in-law.
Up there, you can adjust the mic if you need to. What is your name, please?
Kaylin Christophers,
Can you spell your first and your last name?
KAYLYNN CHRISTOFFERS.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
How do I turn down making a victim impact statement when the true victim in this crime cannot write one for herself? I almost did. There's a temptation to lean into self-preservation when our wounds have been reopened repeatedly by this process. But when I think about the fact that Eileen would be here fighting tooth and nail for any one of us, my choice is made for me. Giving an all-encapsulating message of the impact that losing her has had seems unattainable. Words are inadequate when the emotions are so strong, thank you, that they are felt physically. However, I understand that now Eileen has to rely on her voice flowing through us to advocate for her. If it means that I've done what I can do to fight for her, I'll take endless reopened wounds for her. I'm doing this for the ones that can't. For every family member and friend that has shown up here consecutively for the last 10 months of court dates, and for the people who couldn't show up because it's all too painful. I'm doing this for you, Your Honor, in hopes that you can gather threads of who Eileen was through the people you've seen in here fighting for her time after time. I'm gutted that you don't get to meet her. I'm doing this for the girl who took the life of my second mom. I pray that what we're enduring as a result of your actions is the last catalyst for change that you will ever need. And most importantly, I'm doing this for my sweet, sweet mother-in-law. We had a relationship that most people dream of having with their own mothers. That I understand as a privilege. From day one of dating their son, Jeff and Eileen treated me like the daughter they never had. She used to call me that until eventually she just started calling me her daughter, which was arguably the cutest thing ever. She often told me that she couldn't have handpicked a better match for her son, to which I always responded that I hit the in-law jackpot. One time, Eileen actually did think she won the jackpot. She thought she won $40,000 on a lottery ticket, and I had to break the news to her that she read the directions wrong. Even then, she immediately got in her car and went to the gas station to turn in her winning lottery ticket. When she came back home, we asked her how big we had won, and she said we won $13, and I spent it on buying more lottery tickets, so we won 3. It's those silly moments that I'm so grateful I had with her in the 2.5 years I lived in Christopher's home. It's the simple things that I miss the most. The cups of hot cocoa she would have waiting for us when we returned home after a long, cold day at the house. The innocent and hilarious questions she would ask us while watching football, just to show interest even though she knew nothing about sports. And the forehead kisses before bed, which thankfully we all got the night before she was taken from us. We adored how simple she was. Her only cares in the world were her family, cute kids, finishing IEPs for those cute kids, shopping at antique stores, and taking walks or boat rides with Jeff. She couldn't wait for her own cute grandchildren. You'll have free healthcare or childcare as soon as I can retire, she would tell us. She was very much a quiet leader, one of those that led by her actions more often than her words. Rather than telling us to do the right thing, she would just do the right thing in front of us. It wasn't hard to learn how to be a good human from her. It is disheartening that she won't be here to live out her dream of having grandchildren due to someone else's inability to do the right thing. There's no doubt that Eileen taught us incredible things, but there are also some harsh realities I've learned as a result of losing her. I've learned that the world is unsafe. I've learned the feeling behind the word permanent. I've learned that bad things really do happen to the best people. I've learned the true value of appreciating time spent with the ones that we love, all the while knowing that at any moment we may not get any more. I've learned that two opposites can be true simultaneously, that I can feel anger towards the recklessness that took her life, while taking the opportunity to cherish the days we are given, rather than dwelling in the past. I've learned that I believe consequences are a necessity, and I've learned to allow the pain of my past and present to shape the gratitude of my future. None of this has been in our control from the start. On January 29th, 2024, it's like we were thrown into the rapids with nothing to hold on to, praying that someone could come along to help us stay afloat. It's like that, except what really happened is that on January 29th, 2024, Eileen was taken from us without warning. There's no way to get her back, and we're relying on a person of power and influence to take the control we never had and use it to make an adequate choice, to take a strong enough action to encompass anything close to the value of Eileen's life to us when the current laws diminish that, to help us stay afloat by providing us with a faith that someone's actions do carry the strongest of consequences, regardless of intent or the presence of remorse. Your Honor, though I don't envy your position in this, I ask that you handle the cards that we've been dealt with care, compassion, and liability. Thank you.
Mr. Everton, there's a box of peanuts on that table. Could we perhaps pass a couple boxes back to the first row? Thank you. You can adjust the microphone, you're a little bit taller. Can you state your name for me?
Yes, Jeff Christophers, JEFF-CHRISTOFFERS.
Thank you.
I don't know how to start something like this, but I don't know how to express in a matter of minutes, something that has been a cornerstone of, my life for so long, but it's brief. Not days and months, but years and even decades of my life, so I'm gonna give it a try. How am I gonna define Eileen, what she meant to us with the hope that it somehow makes an impact on the woman who killed my wife, on you, Madison, the hopes that this has an impact, not solely on us in this way that can empower us to move on, but empower you to change the momentum of what your life has carried over the past several years. And I'm just hoping this is an opportunity for you as well. I'm not asking for life to be devastated, but I am asking for the consequences of your actions to come to fruition today. And I'm obviously speaking to your judge that I pray you see value in life, just human life, and understand that there's no possible way that the position you're in, you could have an intimacy with Eileen that we all had. There's no way. You do this every day, so you can't become calloused. I know that. I've watched you over the last months. I've been in here. I've seen compassion, but I've also seen control, and I've also seen the understanding that there are boundaries and consequences for people's actions. I'm hoping that's rendered today somehow, that same impact that you can have on a person's life, whether it's ours or Madison's. In reading this, I remember that I need to recall the way she was and not what she became. A body so devastated, so broken, that the coroner had never seen anything like it. The day of the accident, I begged the officers to just let me say goodbye to her. It's a physical thing, but it manifests itself in emotion, right? And I implored them to afford me, one last goodbye to her. Afford me one moment with her. I wanted to hold her hand or kiss her forehead for one last time. But with patience and understanding, they assured me that it just couldn't happen. They wanted to protect me like I had hoped to protect Eileen throughout her life. To this day, I've yet to say goodbye to her because I simply don't know how. So what do? I want to see her again. I want to see her today. My family needs me, but as I've said to you in earlier statements that you've received in earlier letters to the court, I'm just tired. I don't want to do this anymore. Sure, I fake the smiles and do the dad jokes and attempt to stay busy with house projects. a lot of my friends and family, they see right through it, but they know that I'm gonna love them with what I have left. Madison is, I wrote this woman in here because I wanted to objectify you, but you are Madison. And you took it upon yourself to sentence Eileen to death. You also took it upon yourself to be judge and jury for the rest of us because we've been given a life sentence now. And I don't know how to get out. There is no parole for this. There is no probation for this. I'm deciding that this wasn't enough. Now I have to ask you, implore you, the court, to decide the value of Eileen's life. You've heard this from others. How do you do that? How do you quantify this? How do you qualify this? What it once was worth and what its future value would have been. It's not even just what she was, it's what she could have been. And including the grandmother that she just desperately so wanted to become. I can still picture her on the edge of our bed, her hands extended like she's holding our baby granddaughter, because she insisted on daughters, not the son she had. She insisted on the son she had, that's not fair, but she just so desperately wanted a daughter. She was that girl to me. And she's sitting on the end of her bed with her hands extended like she's holding our baby granddaughter while bouncing on her knees up and down. She's like, that's going to be me. And if you're nice, I might even let you hold her. I understand your hands are tied by the law, but please don't pale the life of such a beautiful person. It devalues her very existence. If Eileen had lived another 30 years, what would it have been worth relative to you, Madison? What would it have been worth to you? A year for a year? A month for a year? A week for a year? How does this work, right? Truly, this is a one-to-one. It should be. It isn't. It can't be. So help me do something for Eileen that I couldn't. It was my job to protect her in life, emotionally, spiritually, physically. I failed. I just did. Speak for her. Speak for us and let us know she matters to you. Tell us that even in her passing, Eileen is still valued because to some she wasn't even worth a 2-minute video. It's surreal sometimes. I have dreams about venturing on walks with her, holding her hand and relishing about how we stole an entire life together when others never find that true love. Still dreaming, because that's all I have these days. We celebrate our 70th anniversary together. We are in our 90s, slowly walking to nowhere, reminiscing about the last 35 years of a 70-year life that in reality we never had together, and bouncing the grandchildren she never had on those knees. Thank you. Okay.
There's nothing I say can convey the
Do
law.
we have, I thought we had more than,
No.
we don't have any more speakers? Okay, all right. Ms. Arnold, is there anything you'd like to say on behalf of the people?
There is, Your Honor. Nothing I say can convey the loss to Eileen's husband, Jeff, her sons, Scott and Matt, her extended family, those future grandchildren, and the entire community. I urge this court to impose a sentence that's sufficient to deter Madison Steinwedel from any sort of conduct like this in the future, and that also deters the public in general from this behavior, because we've had way too many of these cases within Lenawee County. I hope Madison learns from this experience. Madison, I hope you learn, because you are still young, because your life was spared in this situation, which it very well could not have been. And I hope that you realize that every decision you make matters from here on out, that every minute of your life matters from here on out. And I hope you look to Eileen Christophers as a beacon, as an example of what your life can be after you pay your debt to society. And I hope you fulfill that sort of legacy. Thank you.
Mr. Degemer-Gozing, could you and your client stand at the podium, please? Degemer-Gozing, is there anything you'd like to say on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, nothing, as we've indicated in this court, nothing said or done by anybody here is going to bring Ms. Christophers back. On behalf of Madison, I want to extend our apologies and consolement to the family. This is obviously a very difficult day for everybody in this courtroom. I don't want that to be lost on anybody. From all accounts, Ms. Christophers was a wonderful person. We didn't have the chance to meet her, but obviously she had a lot of family love and by all accounts was a very wonderful person. A little bit on Madison. think it's important to highlight who she is and factors about her. She comes to you with no criminal history of any kind. She doesn't have any drug or alcohol use or abuse. There was no controlled substance or alcohol use on the date of incident. It was a complete lapse of an instantaneous lapse of judgment, which led to a life-changing experience for everybody in this court. I think it's important to note that Madison is gainfully employed. She does have family support here in the courtroom. She is loved by her family. She's paying a mortgage. She graduated high school. By many accounts, she is a good member of society. She's not a bad person. This was an extremely bad situation. It's hard to not be defined by the worst moment in your life, but I'm hoping that Madison, moving forward, won't be defined by this. She has more to offer for society, and obviously this court is going to impose a sentence which should accomplish things like what Ms. Arnold is discussing, deterrence, but also the other canons of sentencing are to be retributive, but also restorative, and that I know that the court will impose a sentence that does such. I want to highlight that this event was not done out of malice. She didn't have any ill will or ill intention. It doesn't excuse the result of it, but it does. I think it's important to note. Madison has taken responsibility and accountability in this matter by obviously admitting criminal guilt to this. We did conduct a restorative justice meeting with Ms. Christopher's family and some of the individuals who spoke today. It was actually the first one that I have participated in, and I wanted to set that up to at least begin the process of healing for Eileen's family, but also for Madison, because I think it's important for people to have a space to be heard, and I think that was accomplished at that particular meeting. Madison is beyond remorseful, but again, we cannot bring Eileen back, and that's something that Madison is going to have to deal with for the rest of her life. Madison has been cooperative in the entire investigation, as well as the court proceedings post-charge. It has been certainly a traumatic 10 months of this case existing. She hasn't driven since the date of incident. And part of this case was that we had discussed boot camp, known as SAI. It's come to both parties' attention, as well as the courts, that MDOC has their own internal policies, even though Madison is by statute eligible for SAI under 791.234A. She is eligible, but again, MDOC policy is just if there's death in the offense, then that individual, I guess, won't be screened for boot camp. With that being said, I relayed that, and I think there would be grounds to withdraw the plea. And she said, absolutely not. I'm taking responsibility. I don't want to put the family through more of this. So I think that should be highlighted as well. We agree with the guidelines. We agree with the range. Obviously, Madison comes to you as a young individual, 24 years old. Even the bottom end of the guidelines is a significant amount of time in prison, certainly for an individual of the factors that I listed to the court. I'd ask the court to, in taking all of the statutory and sentencing canons into effect, I'd ask the court to impose a sentence at the bottom range of the guidelines. Obviously, this court is free to construct a sentence that is appropriate, but that is our request at this time.
Ms. Steinlettel, is there anything you'd like to say?
Just want to say that I'm truly deeply sorry, and I'm going to take accountability to learn from my mistakes and move on. I know it can't bring her back, but I do want to say I'm really sorry.
Anything else, Ms. Arnold?
No, thank you.
Determining the appropriate sentence in this case, the court has to consider the seriousness of the offense, Ms. Steinwettel's history, the principle of proportionality, the statutory penalty, the cost of confinement, the sentencing guidelines, the report and recommendation of the probation department, as well as all of what's been said upon this record. The criteria and reasons for the sentence are the nature and gravity of the offense, the discipline appropriate to its commission, deterrence against repetition by you and by others, potential for reformation, vindication of law, and protection of society. This is probably one of the hardest sentencings I've ever done. Ms. Steinmettle, you are a young woman who is an absolute menace on the road. I don't think I've ever met anybody at your age with a history of civil infractions, traffic offenses that showed just a complete lack of disregard for people on the road. I have an F-350 crew cab dually. I use it on the farm. I don't drive it on a daily basis, but it's a monster of a truck. And most people in this room have not driven a vehicle that big. But with driving a vehicle that big, there is a responsibility to pay attention. And you obviously weren't that day. And in fact, you were watching a TikTok video at the time the accident occurred, from what I understand from the prosecutor's office. So I'm a daughter. I have 6 children. My greatest fear every day is when my daughter leaves for school that she's going to get in an accident, because there's Tipton Highway and Hunt, and then any number of places my daughter can get into an accident, and that terrifies me. And she's 18 now, but I have 37-year-old children, and I still worry about them too. So Eileen Christophers was an amazing woman. I didn't know her, but she was deeply loved by everybody in this room. It's very clear. You are so fortunate, Miss, to have had a wonderful mother-in-law. Not everybody gets a wonderful mother-in-law. And so the fact that you can talk about her with love and respect and laughter is good. Mr. Christophers, you have never failed your wife, not one day in her life. Everybody in here knows how much you guys loved each other, and that love continues, whether she's gone or not. It looks like she was a woman of compassion and love. She cared for everybody. She was kind. She loved you all very hard. She taught and guided others to be their best. She would want you all to remember her with love. She would want you to heal and enjoy your life. I hope this brings you closure, but I can't put a price on her life. I can't. This isn't a civil case where there's like a $1.5 million settlement for the loss of a life. There's nothing, because her life was priceless. And so what a fortunate woman and what a lucky family you are to have experienced her love. I can only make sure that Madison understands, Ms. Steinmettle understands the consequences of her actions, and in the future works hard with children and teenagers and young drivers to make sure they don't make those same mistakes. The guidelines in this case were 19 to 38 months. As a judge, I am bound by the guidelines, and I have to determine what's in the best interest of all the parties. So the prosecutors represent victims, but they also have a responsibility to defendants. Defense attorneys have a responsibility to their clients, and they're going to both do the very best job they can. And we have wonderful attorneys sitting in this courtroom right now. I have to look at how to give you closure, how to make sure she's adequately punished, but I also have to take into account her age, her record. And I know you kind of started when you said she didn't have a criminal record. She has traffic violations. She doesn't, like I have other cases where someone was drunk or on drugs and driving and committed crimes, and the guidelines are actually higher for those, but that's part of the legislature and Michigan criminal justice committees. So, this is hard. This is hard for everybody in this room, and I can only hope that when you leave here today, you will slowly start remembering her with love and happiness instead of the hurt that you have now. And it will happen. I lost my dad a couple years ago, and it takes a while, but it happens. So, Ms. Steinmettle, it is the sentence of the court that you will be sentenced to the Michigan Department of Corrections for a period of 22 months to 15 years. You have 0 credit. You must pay a crime victim assessment fee in the amount of $130 and a victim or state cost of $68. As a term of parole, you will not operate a motor vehicle. You will also engage in community service and speak at victim impact panels in schools to talk about the dangers of distracted driving as a term of your parole. You do have the right, is there anything else, Ms. Arnold?
No, thank you.
You do have the right to appeal this sentence. My bailiff's going to hand down to you your notice of right to appellate review. You're going to initial and date 1 copy for our records. The others are for you. If you wish to appeal your sentence, you would fill out the information on the form and mail it to the address listed on the form within 42 days. Did I forget something?
I wasn't sure about restitution.
I was just gonna add that.
Okay, Ms. Walsh, what is restitution?
It's $5,694.70. And that's to the crime victims compensation fund for the funeral costs.
Mr. Degemer goes in.
I'm taking no position.
Okay, and I will order that in restitution as a term of parole. Anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay, if you could initial and date that, please. And the other 2 copies are for you. As I said, if you wish to appeal the sentence, you would fill out the information on form and mail it to the address listed on form within 42 days. Works for me, says.